debate reflections, I think it went pretty much as well as it possibly could. I think Kamala did really, really well. She did a really good job at not getting too bogged down into details, because people keep saying, like, we're talking about your policies and all that. No, Biden did that. Biden spoke about percentages and plans for the future and policy outlines and legal implications and all that. And no one cares. No one cares. I'm sorry. No one cares. People who like Trump don't care. People who don't like Trump don't care. People who like Trump think he's really good at foreign policy. They can't explain why. They can't do it, apart from that, oh, there are some wars happening now, but they wouldn't be happening if Trump were there for some reason. Can't explain why. So no, that's a bad objection. I think she did well. I think she did really well. I noticed, I told you this yesterday as well when it happened, that she spoke about Trump's crowd size. And as soon as she said that, before that, I thought it was like, this is going to kind of be boring, right? They're just going to talk past each other like every other bog standard presidential debate, like how they're supposed to go. That's what they're supposed to be. But then she mentioned crowd sizes. She mentioned that Trump's rallies are long and boring and people leave before the end because they're exhausted. And Trump went mental. After that, he spent the next minute of his next answer just talking about the crowd sizes.
And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first, and I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so, that would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border?
First, let me respond as to the
Please.
rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country, and if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
Like, he's so insecure. And she did that a few times, talking about how he's inheriting $400 million and then declaring bankruptcy 6 times.
Not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then filed bankruptcy 6 times.
President Trump, your
Well,
response?
first of all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that.
She just triggered him. And that was definitely what she was trying to do. And then she's laughing at him and she's being really coy and just being kind of like normal. Occasionally, like a few kind of like emotional appeals, like, America, we're not like this. We can do better than this. Like with all the stupid race shit. Just not even engaging with this stupid shit about them eating cats and dogs. She just kind of laughed it off and said, I think there was like a, talk about extremism. Like, yeah, that's good, because Trump's entire tactic so far has been to not look crazy, right? That's what he's trying to do, is don't look like a criminal. Don't look like someone who's just been found guilty on, because I think quite a lot of Republicans said that would be the line for them. If he actually gets criminal like conviction, then if you're an American, if you're especially like a law and order American, well, obviously, why the fuck do you vote for a criminal president? So I think that in particular was a good thing to capitalize on. But for Trump, his way around that is just to act normal, just act like a normal person, be calm, be collected, which worked on Biden. You notice on Biden, against Biden, he was very measured. He was very slow, careful, just like didn't really even go too hard on Joe Biden because he knew that he was self-destructing, right? But as soon as she mentioned the crowd sizes, he started shouting and dropping every conspiracy theory possible, talking about post-birth abortions.
They have abortion in the 9th month. In other words, we'll execute the baby. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote.
Like that's a normal thing. Like that's a thing that legally happens. The moderators in the last word, you can tell that Republicans felt the same way, okay? Rob Noor was on Twitter saying that Kamala won, just flat out. You can tell that Kamala won even in the eyes of Republicans because they're blaming the moderators. You've got the usual like 20 IQ Keemstars and all that saying, like Trump won, cope, like, or Blair White saying that she felt really happy when Trump did the I'm speaking bit. Like, okay, yeah, that's one level, okay? That's one level of Trump cope. Like Blair White, I'm worried I'll never again experience a dopamine hit like when Trump hit Kamala with I'm speaking. Okay. That's one level, okay? That's a little bit too lost in the sauce. But people like Ben Shapiro and people who are a bit less mental are just blaming the moderators. And when they're blaming the moderators, you know that's because you think Trump lost. You think Trump looked bad. I will agree actually with Ben Shapiro. Like, the moderators were biased. They were biased in favor of Trump. They let him get away with more lies, more obvious lies than he should have. They fact-checked one or two things. Trump tried to invoke a fact-check, which wasn't actually real. Like, Kamala said that Trump saw tiki torches on one side, anti-fascists on the other, and said there were fine people on both sides. That's true. That's exactly what happened. There's a stupid fact-check by Snopes. Trump, Charlottesville, Snopes. There's a really stupid article on Snopes about the Charlottesville rally where they're correcting people who said that Trump called neo-Nazis and white supremacists very fine people. And it's like, okay, he didn't say neo-Nazis and white supremacists are very fine people. He did say that there were very fine people on both sides. And there was like, no, not the neo-Nazis, not the white supremacists, not the neo-Nazis, but there were very fine people on both sides. Okay, all you have to do is look at the Charlottesville rally with people with tiki torches running around shouting, Jews will not replace us, and be like, okay, where exactly?
I was in a great mood last night, then I woke up this morning and watched Shapiro's review of the debate and realized nothing can break the spell that the troll, Trump skin has on his minions.
Nah, you can break the spell, but because the spell is broken by Ben Shapiro blaming the moderators. That's enough to that's the only way Ben Shapiro can admit that Trump lost. That's the only way he can do it. He's not capable otherwise. So yeah, Kamala accurately portrayed this, but because there's a debunk of a different statement, Trump just was like, that's debunked. No, it's debunked. No, you call it debunked. Like, no, it's not. Like, what she said was correct. And people are upset. I don't know why, because Republicans have now just decided that everyone said this when actually Trump did say this. This is on video. No one denies. Wasn't there more context in the speech? Yes, the context of the speech is him saying, I don't like neo-Nazis. I don't like white supremacists. But we saw this. There was the people on the one side with the statue and the other side with the anti-fascists and the very fine people on both sides. Now let me tell you about Antifa, okay? Let me tell you about Antifa, the alt-left, the radical left. Like, yeah, that's your way of praising one side. If you say that you got Tiki Torch rally saying Jews will not replace us, the next day you have them rallying in the daytime chanting gas the K words on video, and you have anti-fascists on the other side, some of whom are probably dipshit anarchists or stupid tankies or whatever, and you say, these two groups, there are fine people on both sides. When one side did this, by the way, rammed a car into the anti-fascist crowd, a white supremacist did that. When you take these two sides and say, very fine people on both sides, now let me talk about Antifa. When you do that to the far left and right, you are propping up the right. That's how it works. But for some reason, every Republican shithead thinks this is a classic Democrat disinformation example. Well, technically, he didn't say neo-Nazis and white supremacists were very fine people. He said there were fine people on both sides, one side of which was a neo-Nazi white supremacist rally. It's so dumb. It's so stupid. But anyway, yeah, the moderators were biased in favor of Trump because whilst they corrected a few things, like law enforcement said that there isn't a bunch of Haitians running around Springfield eating cats and dogs like a fucking Simpsons episode. No, that's not real. But they let him get away with a lot more. They let him get away with, I managed to catch quite a few yesterday. They didn't catch him lying about the fact that he said a bunch of the election fraud cases were only thrown out on standing. Right? He said that they were only thrown out on standing.
And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them Republican.
No judge looked at it.
And said
they
there was
said
no
we didn't have
widespread
standing.
fraud.
That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing, a technicality. Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The president of the United States doesn't have standing.
That's a lie. 30 out of 64, included a hearing on the merits. 14 were voluntarily dismissed by Trump before they could get to the merits. So that's a majority of them are not dismissed just on standing. More of them had a hearing on the merits than were dismissed before by the courts. So they didn't fact check on that. They didn't fact check him on saying that during his presidency, Iran was bankrupt and Hezbollah and Hamas and all these people weren't doing anything. That's not true. Throughout Trump's presidency, Hezbollah were upgrading their arsenal. They were putting GPS and guidance system on their rockets with Iranian funding from 2016. The only time Hezbollah were building up their capabilities, especially along the Israeli border, and not to mention their activities in Syria, they were doing that all the way through Trump's presidency. The only time that they slowed down, the year 2019, the only time they slowed down was during COVID, because they are also a civilian government. At the end of the day, they have to take care of their local population. He lied about he lied about tariffs. He said that tariffs wouldn't increase prices, but okay. He said that he had created the most manufacturing jobs, and Biden didn't. No, like if you look at, there's the Bureau of Labor Statistics has stats on manufacturing jobs created by president. Biden is since Nixon, Biden is pretty high up there. Look at that. Biden was forged in the pits. Okay, Biden is made of coal and steel. Trump, worse than Obama. Trump, and that's just a few that I caught when I was like when I wasn't feeling lazy. None of these were fact checked by the moderators. So no, that's the really horrible thing. It's that if the moderators were impartial to the truth, they would look biased to the average person. And because most people vote on vibes and rhetoric and all that, they actually can't. It's a really weird standard of media that moderators in these debates, if you have one person who is a pathological liar, who lies in a really obvious way, you can't actually be proportionate with them because you would look bad to undecided voters. So they actually kind of need to treat him with kid gloves. They need to grade him on a curve just because of how media works and because of how the public backlash would appear, because it might it would draw more attention towards them and away from the debate itself. So yeah, that's really, I agree with Ben Shapiro. The moderators were biased. They were biased in favor of Trump because they let him get away with a higher proportion of lies. A lot of people don't actually know what the vice president does. I think that's probably, that's kind of an issue. Fox News actually made a top 5 moments. Well, you got to keep those OAN viewers and Newsmax viewers from running away from you, haven't you? Don't you? Oh, God, she hit him so hard with the Afghanistan thing as well, inviting the Taliban to Camp David and excluding the Afghan government. Damn, that was so good. I read something a long time ago that said that if, it was around 2016 actually, it said that if Trump had just put whatever he inherited in the bank and just left it there, he'd have more money now than he does currently because of all the bankruptcies and bad investments.
Fracking? She's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police. She's been against that forever.
Well, yeah, okay. Was that a misspeak? She has, but this is their top 5 moments. He just said she's against defund the police. That's not your line. You're supposed to lie, Trump. You're supposed to lie and say that she supports defund the police. She is actually against defund the police. She's openly been against defund the police. Kamala. Just because she's spoken about police reform, that's not defund the police, you idiot. Okay, yeah. So I guess one of the top 5 moments of Trump is him just actually accidentally being honest. Okay.
He gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now, if you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar? She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people.
All right, you know what, for Trump, that's not bad. That's a funny one. That's probably the only good moment he had in the entire thing that I noticed. Even though he botched the build up to it.
Burned down Minneapolis. She went out and raised money to get him out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal. That would do.
Why did they include this? They should have ended the clip. Fox.
This. She wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one. Just to finish, one thing so important in my opinion.
So important.
So I got the oil business going like nobody has ever done before. When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys go to where they were. I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead, fossil fuel will be dead, we'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take 400, 500 acres of desert soil.
Trump, we have a
These
lot
are
of
not good
issues
things
that we
for the
have to get
environment
to.
that
We're
she
out of time.
understands.
Thank you.
Wait, what? Of desert soil? I don't even know. Oh, God. At least he's not talking about wind turbines. That's only for the select audience, the small elite. Kamala Harris is a genocidal rape queen. There's nothing Kamala Harris loves more than raping children, women, and men. She is directly responsible. Countless pedophilic rapes, not just in the past, but today, in the present, right now. Why did she write this like a Trump tweet? Why was this written with Trump syntax? Is Zay Squirrel's pronouns she, her? I think it's she, her, right? Zay, them. Nice one. Good one. Anyway, Trump in the spin room, post-debate. Let's go. Let's see how he handled it, okay? Let's see how he thinks about his performance.
Right up here, this mic. Right up here, this mic.
Oh, he's flustered.
Mr. Trump, we're live on ABC News here, sir. Mr. Trump. I think it's time to talk, but here we go.
We thought it was our best debate ever. It was my best debate ever, I think. And it was very interesting.
We had some good memes. We had trans illegal alien prisons. We had dog and cat eating heathens in Springfield, Ohio. Great debate. Excellent debate. The best we've ever seen.
Showed how weak they are, how pathetic they are, and what they're doing to destroy our country and the border with foreign trade, with everything.
Oh, they didn't press him on why he shot down the border bill.
And I think it was the best debate I've ever personally that I've had. We're getting polls that show 92 to 6, 88 to 11. We're having a lot of great polls that just came out. They're polls, I guess, phone polls and lots of other polls. But you.
Kamala Harris is a genocidal rape queen. There is nothing Kamala Harris loves more than raping children, women, and men. She's directly responsible. Countless pedophilic rapes, not just in the past, but today, in the present, right now. Like none you've ever seen, like the worst kind. And you can take it from me, all right? I know plenty of rapists. Some of them good people, some of them not so good people. Kamala, not a good rapist. No, the worst kind. Like nothing you've ever seen. Okay.
The border with foreign trade, with everything. And I think it was the best debate I've ever personally that I've had. We're getting polls that show 92 to 6, 88 to 11. We're having a lot of great polls that just came out. There are polls, I guess, phone polls and lots of other polls, but you see the polls. A very important debate. Now, she wants to do another one because she got beaten tonight, but I don't know if we're going to do another one. I wouldn't mind. The polls are indicating that we got
Just
90%.
based on what 90%. I will say, unfortunately, don't be complacent. Debates mean nothing. Okay, Kerry, the American public. Okay, don't ever underestimate how weird Americans are. Okay, the American public thought John Kerry won every debate against George Bush, and Bush won. Not just the Electoral College, he won the popular vote. Republicans never win the popular vote in the last 3 decades. The American public thought Hillary won her debates against Trump, and Trump beat her. So there exist people in society, okay? And I know you guys don't understand this because you're all debate Zio rapists. But the fact is that there are people in society who will watch 3 debates and think, that person won. That person did better. They were more rhetorically effective. They were more well-presented. They were more likable. They made better points, better arguments. Okay, they seemed smarter. I'm going to vote for this guy. You're the guy who's going to handle the border, who's going to handle immigration and social issues and foreign policy and the economy and taxes. They do this. Americans do this. I don't know why. I think they're a nation of trolls. I don't know. Maybe the ballots are like very strangely drawn. Maybe the problem with the Barify ballots was that they looked too normal, like they were too legible. I don't know. I don't know what happens, okay? But Americans are weird. So, yeah, Kamala might have annihilated Trump in this debate, or Trump may have contributed to annihilating himself. Doesn't mean anything. Like, Trump could still win.
60%, 72%, 71%, and 89%. So the polls are very good, but beyond the polls, I felt very good. I had a good time doing it. I hate to speak about our country so negatively, but that's what happened. They've ruined our country. They've destroyed our country. So I hope you're all having a good time. I hate to speak about our country so negatively, but that's what happened. So
what did he say about the polls?
Are very good, but beyond the polls, I felt very good. I had a good time doing it. I hate to speak.
What did he say about the polls? I missed that.
Very important debate. Now, she wants to do another one because she got beaten tonight, but I don't know if we're going to do another one. I wouldn't mind. The polls are indicating that we got 90%, 60%, 72%, 71%, and 89%. So the polls are...
There's someone in the background shouting, where did you get those numbers?
71%, and 89%. So the polls are very good, but beyond the polls, I felt very good. I had a good time doing it. I hate to speak about our country so negatively, but that's what happened. They've ruined our country. They've destroyed our country. So I hope you're all having a good time, but it was a very interesting evening. Yes.
Mr. President, if you're so confident you won tonight, why are you here? Why not let the performance speak for itself?
Well, I think it did, but people said, would I come here? And I made an obligation to a couple of people that I'm going to do their show.
They're from Twitter polls. Is that where he got 72%? Oh, no. Oh, this is one of them. Is this really? He thinks that because there are more Democrats on X, it should be oversampling Democrats. Does he not know how he knows? He knows obviously how Twitter followings work. I wonder what. Why don't we figure out people who follow Elon Musk, whether or not they're more Democrat or Republican? What a coper.
But it was I thought it was a great night.
Mr. President,
go ahead.
What are your reaction to Taylor Swift's endorsement of Kamala Harris?
I have no idea.
Mr. President, when Republicans are complaining about moderators, does that mean that it wasn't a good night? Were you not prepared?
No, I thought the moderators were very unfair, but it basically was 3-on-1. But I thought they were very unfair, the moderators. Everybody did. But despite that, they're saying that the debate was a big deal.
Were you prepared for that, sir? Were you prepared for that kind of debate?
Yeah, I assume the moderators would be bad because that right there is the worst of all the news networks, in my opinion, and it always has been. Yeah.
Why will you commit to a second debate with Kamala Harris?
Well, she wants a second debate because she lost tonight very badly. So they immediately called for a second debate because they
Very
lost.
badly.
So we'll, think about that. But she immediately called for a second. Look, we're looking at polls. We're looking at polls. The worst poll that we've had was 71 that I see. 71% to like
That I see.
24 or 25.
Wait. Sorry, I know the next thing we're going to watch is what the actual poll said, but if we look at Fox News, Trump-Harris debate poll, 71% is the worst one. Fox would probably be more, A huge majority of debate watchers say Harris took home the victory. CNN poll finds. Okay, so CNN have obviously said Harris. Okay. 96% of Harris supporters said they thought she won, while 69% of Trump supporters, oh no. The Trump supporters, oh no. They're rattled. Oh no. Who's the new cult leader? Yes. Kamala's going to have the biggest crowds. Like the largest crowd. Like none you've ever seen before. Tremendous crowds. So did Fox News not do their own poll? Thought they would have. Yeah, we'll see.
We'll look at it, but they want a second debate because they lost. I mean, every poll shows they lost, and they lost. Now, with all of that, it was obviously 3-on-1, but I think we did.
Did she get under your skin,
Did she get under your skin, sir? That's a good question.
I love this guy, whoever he is. He said, you did great. Yeah, Lebanon.
Listen, folks, if you can't tell by the hard-to-hear audio and those shaky camera angles, this was not an expected or planned appearance by former President Trump in that spin room in Philadelphia. He simply showed up. You heard him talk about that. He walked in front of where a number of reporters gathered, including our Garrett Haake. He's walking back over now, a little closer to the microphones, it seems. Let's listen back in for just a sec, see if that's any better.
The vice president, he's, the office of the vice president, and certainly, if you take a
Did
look
that reporter say he was Lebanon? Yeah, don't worry about it. I was here.
at it, she was terrible.
I'm
in
not an
respect to
operative.
The president, she's trying to get herself away from Biden, and she wasn't able to do that tonight. I think it was a big thing. They wanted to disassociate with Biden, and they weren't able to do it. What do you think of the president? What am I doing?
Project 2025.
Yeah, I have nothing to do with Project 2025.
I love his cope about Project 25. It's such a good tactic. I didn't read it. I made a very strong effort not to read it. I don't want to know about it. Every time someone tells me about it, I put my fingers in my ears. Like, wait, that's a little bit suspicious, isn't it? Why? If you got nothing to do with it, but it's going around, people talk about it. Don't you want to have a look? See if you agree with it? See if you disagree with it? Come on.
I think the moderators were very unfair. I actually thought they were just
the migrants.
No, but that's a true story.
President Trump, I'm Yusef Salaam. One of the
Want to be super transparent with you here. Tough to get our camera close.
So some people told YouGov they thought the moderators were unfair and biased. So I'm not sure. Hey, I'm the 5%. Okay, listen, I am the rare elite. Okay, I think they were biased in favor of Trump. Okay, because we've got interdimensional IQ levels. Okay, I understand. These guys know.
Into this gaggle, into this scrum. Obviously, he travels with Secret Service, the former president. There's a bit of a bubble, at least around him. He's walking around talking to people. Tommy, while we're watching this, and I want to keep this up in case we get it better. And there's Andrea Mitchell. Let's listen in for a sec.
I don't even view it as a performance. Our country is in decline. We're a nation in decline. And I thought that we got that out. She was unable to defend it. She was certainly bad on foreign policy. She was very bad on the border. And the polls are showing that I have one poll is 92%.
He's going in a little circle talking about his little f***ing polls. Oh, no.
And all of the polls are 60, 70, and 80 in our direction. So I thought it was a great debate from my standpoint.
To Mr. President, what about black voters? What about...
Who's this? Jack Piso. Oh, he's one of the cope artists and wokeness.
did verify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
the people on television saying my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
but
television.
But the people are
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying their
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
It's, again, this isn't from Springfield. There is, I'll show you the story that he's talking about. There's one, this is based on one story, okay? This is literally like one, to talk about illegal migrants causing chaos or whatever. There's one story of a woman getting arrested. Where is it? It's not in Springfield, though. It's actually quite far away from Springfield. Where is the claim? Yeah, it was on August 27th, so it's a couple of weeks ago. A local resident... No, wait, that's not even it, is it? No, wait, that's not the... Oh, yeah, the body cam footage. This is it. A woman in Ohio was charged for allegedly killing a cat and eating it in front of witnesses, charged with injuring animals. She's 27-year-old. Okay, so she's from Canton, Ohio. This is her. Now, if we look at... So Canton is here. Springfield is a ways away. This is Canton here. Springfield is somewhere down here, right? Yeah, there, near Dayton. So they're not exactly close. America's a big country. There's also no evidence that she's Haitian and no evidence that she is a migrant. And they're acting like there's some kind of Haitian crime wave in a different part of Ohio. I'm from Canton, Loner. We do actually do that. Okay. Like, this is what Nazis do. This is like actual Nazi shit. It's insane. And he loves it, doesn't he? Stupid fuck. All right. I saw it on the television. Like, what is that argument? It's like the film. Hang on. It's this.
They had to resort to cannibalism in order to stay alive.
You mean they ate each other up?
They had to, in order to survive.
Jack. Don't worry, Mom. I know all about cannibalism. I saw it on TV.
See? It's okay. You saw it on the television.
That's someone could adapt that with Trump's face over it. Like, I saw it on TV. Fucking hell.
Mr. President, what do you think black voters...
It blew up in their face. The fact checkers absolutely destroyed. He saw it on television. True.
I love black voters. I love them, and they love me too. Oh yeah, it's true. You take a look at it. No, that's true. It's nonsense. It's true. Okay, well, you could check it out. Check with the authorities. I really don't know. I really don't know. I just say, all I do is say the truth. I say the truth. If I lose votes or gain votes, I don't care. But this was my best debate. I thought it was very good. I thought she was very weak on foreign policy. She was very weak on the border. And I'm very happy with it.
So former President Trump here holding court in the spin room there in Philly. Tom Yamas is there, and the former president repeatedly describing this as his best debate in his view, despite the fact that, of course, just a couple of months ago, it was the former president's opponent who dropped out of the presidential race altogether because of that debate. And there has been some news made here as former President Trump is declining to commit to a second debate. Tom, I think I have you as we're taking a look here, former President Trump walking around spin. Give us a sense of the vibe. Where are you in relation to this? I saw Andrew there. I saw Garrett there. This note about the second debate. Kamala Harris's campaign dangled that it seemed as bait. Sure, we want him to do it. We're down to do it. He's declining to take it, it sounds like.
Wait, he doesn't want to do another debate?
So, Hallie, I'm about 50 feet from where the former president just walked in. It's interesting. This debate might have been 90 minutes, and I think Donald Trump has turned it into like 100, maybe 110-minute debate, but it's all in favor of him those last 10, 15 minutes. We were watching to see where he goes. He says he's made some promises to get on some shows just beyond us are Fox News, and there's obviously other news organizations here. We're going to keep an eye out to see where he's headed. If he pops around here, we're ready to go. We have a microphone ready to talk to him. But he was there taking questions. And as you said, trying to spin the results of this debate. Republicans in a much different mood after this debate than they were in Atlanta. That has been clear from all the reporting we've done, all the conversations I have. I know you've had similar conversations as well. I'm sort of following the crowd and the noise. It sounds like former President Trump is somehow backstage right now.
Did Trump admit to a crime live on TV by saying they should have sent the vote back to the House, acknowledging that they could have only happened in conjunction with the fake elector plot? Well, he said that in the past, so that if he's been indicted for statements like that, he made similar statements at the speech at the ellipses, right? At the ellipse. So that's nothing new. That wouldn't be a new thing. He said that a million times before.
Actually see through the curtains here. He is walking through backstage, essentially, where the organizers of the debate are hosting this. I think they're going to bring him in onto somewhere. We have no idea where. But in the meantime, Hallie, as we watch out for him,
I never thought about this question before. You know how Trump keeps saying that the Ukraine war would have never happened if you were president? He would end the war overnight. He would be the one to make a peace deal. If that's true, I need to realize that you're talking to absolute, dribblers. So you have to come down to their level. Well, okay, if Trump is so good at making peace deals, why wasn't he able to stop the war in the Donbass? That was a war that happened throughout his entire presidency. Why wasn't he able to get peace there? Why wasn't he able to get Russia on their side and Ukraine on their side and done? Anyway.
I'm going to send it back to you if we get any updates.
Okay, so what are the polls saying? To my trusty Anderson Cooper.
Presidential debate in Philadelphia is now history, and Americans are digesting what they heard and whether
my
it's going to
silver-haired
impact how
angel.
they vote. I want to get some more results from our post-debate instant polls. Our political director, David Chalian, is back with us. David, what else are you learning?
Yeah, Anderson, this is a poll of debate watchers, not of the country overall or the electorate, obviously. But it's not that in a partisan way different than what we see broadly among registered voters. This is really interesting. Among the candidates' favorable and unfavorable ratings, take a look here at what we found. Before the debate, Harris's favorable rating was at 39%. After the debate, among these debate watchers, her favorability rating went up 6 points to 45%. Donald Trump actually ticked down 2 points among these debate watchers from 41% favorable to 39% favorable. That's about roughly the same. That's not a 2% tick down there is not huge. But I do want to note, Kamala Harris's uptick driven a lot by independent voters. She was minus 17, more unfavorable than favorable among these debate watchers going into the debate. And independent debate watchers, they were plus 9 for her favorability coming out of the debate. So a big movement change on her favorability with independents. Take a look at when we asked debate watchers about the confidence in the candidates to lead the country, the ability to lead the country, and the confidence that debate watchers have in that. This is really interesting because even though she was the clear winner in the debate among debate watchers, take a look. 32% say a lot of confidence in her ability to lead the country, and 36% say that about him. She's a little bit better among those who say some confidence in the ability to lead the country. If you add the a lot and the sum together, they're both at 54%. And so they're quite even on.
That's why I told you guys, Americans they're very strange. Okay, if you are an American, no offense, okay, but if you're not like this, like someone you know is, and that's the problem. Why haven't you dealt with it?
This score, which I think is pretty interesting. And then who had a better plan for solving the country's problems? Harris won on this score among these debate watchers as well. 42% say Kamala Harris had a better plan for solving the country's problem. That's compared to 33% who said Trump. And look, Anderson, 22%. 1 in 5 of debate watchers says neither of these two had a good plan for solving the country's problem. That, not necessarily double haters here, obviously, but that seems to be a target audience for both of these candidates to talk to and explain their plans to over the next 8 weeks.
Yeah, interesting. David Chalian, thanks so much. John King, what do you make of those numbers?
Number one, it tells you we entered the debate in a very close competitive race, and we'll leave the debate in a very close competitive race. However, advantage Harris on a couple of very significant points. David Chalian noting that where she jumped up was among independent voters. We knew coming into this debate that the largest audience of people, the largest percentage of people who said they were open to changing their mind were people who self-identify as independents or as moderates. So the middle of the American electorate, the people who live in the suburbs, the people who maybe voted for Trump in 2016 and Biden in 2020 aren't incredibly partisan. They're looking for solutions. They're looking for pragmatism. So the fact that her movement was among independents, who had the better debate about solving the country's problems, she came into the debate at a deficit with Trump on the economy. It's a different question. That question was solving the country's problems, but it shows she made progress with people. Are you a president? Right? That was her biggest challenge. Nobody knows the vice president, whether it's Mike Pence or whether it's Dan Quayle or whether it's Al Gore. You're trying to rise from vice president, whether it's Joe Biden.
Did you see Hassan's chat spam Holocaust Harris during the debate? Yeah, of course I did. Yeah. I didn't need to see it. You know it happens without looking at it. You know it's happening. I think I said it, and then we watched it, and then they did it. I was like, oh, okay. That was unpredictable.
You're trying to rise from president to vice president. You have to prove I'm ready for the first job. It is clear. It is clear that she cleared that bar tonight. Now, that does not mean that she's not still in a very competitive race. But if her progress tonight was among independents, now the question is, can you carry that momentum forward? We count votes 8 weeks from tonight. Still close, still competitive, but in an election that we all expect is going to be decided on the margins, tonight anyway, the question is, can she hold it? She moved the margins that matter.
That one graph of capability to lead the country, the fact that they're basically dead even. I mean, think about where we were 7 weeks ago, would you have predicted that 7 weeks later that Kamala Harris and Donald Trump would be polling evenly? Donald Trump, a former president, and whatever you think about him, there is a presumption that goes with the fact that you were president, that you know the job and so on. So I do think that she filled that. She checked that box tonight. She looked like a president on that stage. There's not a lot of elasticity in this electorate, so I wouldn't expect huge movements here. But this isn't going to be a race that's won that way. It's going to be won incrementally. She took an incremental step forward.
So I'm a little bit surprised by those numbers, because this is as good as it's going to get for Kamala Harris, presumably. I mean, this was Donald Trump's presumably worst nightmare that you could have. If you're a Trump supporter, you watch this tonight, you say, he didn't talk about any of those kitchen table issues like Alyssa was talking about, right? It was grievances, it was rear mirror, not windshield, it was all the bad stuff. And yet, he's still tied, right? We're still right there, we're still neck and neck. And it's going to come down, again, to the people in Erie County, Northampton County, Macomb County, Michigan. The question is, are 50,000 people swayed in Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania? Were they swayed tonight? Are they going to be swayed the next 8 weeks? Because that's where they are. Those 50 to 75,000. And did those eat away, as John points out, are those independents? Were those swayed enough to come over and stay there for the next 8 weeks?
Maybe not, but his iceberg is melting. I'll tell you that. Like, she did well by herself. You're right. It's going to be clawing forward. It's going to be clawing forward. But, he did a lot of stuff that we haven't even gotten to. That's just horrible. He wouldn't say that he wanted Ukraine to win. Now, you think about that. It's a very easy thing to say that you want a democracy that we rally the world behind. That, frankly, people in Pennsylvania, munitions being made there are going to help. Gas that's being fracked there is going to help. He wouldn't even stick up for the Ukrainians in Pennsylvania when Pennsylvanians are helping us win there. He did terrible.
Well, he could have more clearly absolutely stated, look, I would not sign an abortion bill if it came.
Regarding the transgender operations and illegal aliens in prison, apparently there's an element of truth to that. Apparently Harris supported gender-affirming care for people in prison in 2019. Yeah, I'd imagine, for adults, right? I don't know what's wrong with that. Like, the way he said it though, like he made it sound like there was some kind of massive alarm about it. Like, I felt like the first time I heard it, it sounded like, do you know what it sounded like? It sounded like he just wanted to squeeze in as many right-wing bad things into one sentence. Like, it's the kind of thing I would say as a joke. It's the kind of thing I would say if I was making a video essay and I was like playing a Republican. Like, I would say they're performing transgender operations on minors in prisons that are illegal migrants, asylums. Like, that's what I would say. Like, I would do that as a joke. But okay.
Came across my desk. He got into the nitty-gritty by not 60 votes in the Senate.
On abortion, let's actually play what both of the candidates said on the topic.
One does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. They don't want that.
What I did is something for 52 years. They've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for...
Trump's flip-flopping on abortion is so bad. So now he's decided to just brag about being the guy who got Roe v. Wade overturned. But okay, it's always this like I make exceptions for rape and incest and all that. I don't want to ban abortion. I don't do a federal ban. I just want to give it to the states, which will ban it. Like, it's so incoherent.
Rape, incest,
it's so slimy.
And life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions. Very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
You know, I thought that was probably one of her best responses in the debate. And what Donald Trump did that we didn't play there is, in that response, he threw people under the bus. He threw his vice presidential candidate, J.D. Vance, saying we didn't talk about whether or not he would veto a national abortion ban. He threw Kansas and Ohio under the bus. He said those were liberal votes. Last I checked, Ohio, my home state, and Kansas are pretty red, but that the American public are not actually where Donald Trump and the Republican Party want.
He's saying liberal, because Ohio did vote to protect abortion, and they so did Kansas. Is that what they're talking about? Protecting abortion? They were red states, but the problem is that moderate Republicans are generally okay with some kind of abortion. They're okay with like first trimester. I think most Americans are okay with first trimester, aren't they? It's second and third that they get weird about. Where do Americans stand on abortion? Support for first trimester abortion access hits high. 70% of Americans believe first trimester abortion should be generally legal. Huh. Mostly Democrats, but even it's like a pretty high number of Republicans. I wonder if this is like 53 against or maybe like 40 against and the rest are undecided. Significantly less support for abortion access later in pregnancy. Only 37% support second trimester abortion access generally. Huh. I think this is the case in Europe. I think Europe is generally abortion on demand in the first trimester. The UK is second trimester, but in the UK it's not really on demand, but it kind of is. There's like a formality where 2 doctors have to sign off that it'll be better for you to have the abortion than to have pregnancy, as in like you're less likely to die or whatever, which is obviously it's technically true, but it's a bit of it's just like I honestly think they just put that in there to appease the fucking pro-lifers. Like I don't know, but it worked. Because everything that happens after 24 weeks in the UK is not even called an abortion. It's called a termination for fetal anomaly. That's how we get around it. And no one seems to kick up much of a fuss here, apart from a small minority of deranged Christians.
Want to go on abortion. But what I think she also did was, in this debate on abortion on many issues was, I'm the coalitions person. She talked to different parts of her coalition. We know women are going to be critical. This is the first presidential since the fall of Roe. We actually don't know if it's going to carry over. I think it will still be a top of the ticket issue. But so Donald Trump talks about
how can Democrats not win a landslide? Honestly, I think what would make the difference? One might be that Kamala is just a bit too left-wing for Americans. I think especially the price gouging thing, like any kind of... My impression of Americans is when it comes to the economy, they are so embedded with like the most sensitive trigger points for anything that sounds like government intervention. And talking about price gouging does sound like price fixing to them. I think that like things like that might start to nag on them, and also the fact that she's black and a woman. But so that might not get her the necessary level of right-wing support. As for left-wing support, there's a problem there as well, though, because Jill Stein is able to grab more of the Muslim vote than Harris is in like a couple of states, isn't she? I think Michigan, Jill Stein has more of the Muslim vote now, according to polls, than Harris does. And Jill Stein will not drop out for pragmatic reasons. She's not there to leverage. She is there to take votes away from Democrats because she is, intentionally or not, a Russian operative. She does Russia's bidding for free, apparently, because she's been investigated, I think, and she's been found clean. Like, the fact is, though, is that Jill Stein is not capable of any change, and she knows that. She hasn't grown her movement in the last 10 years. Like, she's not there to stop war crimes. She's not there to stop a genocide. She's not there to do anything. She's there to stop the Democrats. That's her only function. She's there to prey. She's a predator, so that she can basically make life easier for Trump and for Putin. And by extension, also Netanyahu, because if that makes the difference between Democrats and Republicans winning, then Trump gets in. And Trump loves the Israeli right. Loves them. Trump says the settlements are legal. Trump says the Golan Heights is part of Israel. Trump moved the embassy to Jerusalem and says that Jerusalem belongs to Israel. All of it. The Haram al-Sharif, Israel.
Sorority. She went to a sorority party. Let me tell you, as a person who was a part of a black sorority, that was offensive to black people. It's a public service organization. So she didn't go there and talk about it, but she talked about, the Central Park Five when he was there. She talked about Dick Cheney. I know we probably all were like watching Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney endorse because we follow this every single day. But some people probably didn't know he endorsed. That speaks to those Republicans in Erie, Pennsylvania that you still talk to. And then the independents showing again, yet he can't be a mature adult and not scream when he gets upset about crowd size.
Anyway, what a state. What an absolute state. Elon Musk is such an incel. What's he doing? What's he crying about? Wait, there's no way this woman is actually... Is she... I don't think this person's an illegal migrant, but I thought... Is there actually any evidence of what her heritage is or where she's even from? Is she just an American citizen? There's no way. Imagine after all that. Erudite's saying she's an American citizen, but I don't think the Fox News article says that. This is the video they're talking about, by the way. This is their evidence of a Haitian crime wave in Springfield.
What did you do? Why'd you kill the cat? Smile for me. Smile with your teeth. Go like this. Did you eat that cat? Did you eat it? No, why'd you kill it? Did you guys see all this?
No, we pulled up and she was just laying there with me.
Did you see her eating it?
Eating it.
She was eating it?
Yeah, she was.
You call the Humane Society, see if they'll come pick this cat up. It's deceased.
Oh no. Oh no. It's like she's American enough to know that it's shut the fuck up Friday when the cop's asking you questions. So she knows that much. Okay. It looks like Trump is rejecting a second debate. One more in the bag for Queen Kamala. Well. Trump thinks he did great. I know, he's very proud of himself. Do you think Trump thinks he won the debate, or is he coping? Trump is quite narcissistic. I think he believes he won the debate, yeah. If Kamala did so well, why does she want another debate? Why would you say that? If you're not supposed to stop, if you won, why would you want to play again? Because you like winning. What? Fine, Taylor, you win. I will give you a child and guard your cats with my life. Oh my God. Is this really what getting bullied by leftists does to people? Oh, there's this whole conspiracy theory that Kamala was using earpieces, like earrings that are actually earphones. So people could feed her points in the debate because they look nothing like fake headphones. They don't look anything like them. What the fuck? Great minds. What is this?
Probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out. Wait a minute. I'm talking now. If you don't mind, please.
Oh, he did the thing. I'm
Does that
talking
sound
now.
She went out.
He wants to say it.
She went out.
Oh my God.
In Minnesota.
He's so
and
rebel.
wanted to
He's
let
got that
criminals
N-word.
that
It's
killed
loaded
people,
up.
that
Oh my
burned
God. I
down
want to see. He's got to do it. It's got to
she went out
happen.
and raised money to
He
get
was
him
so
out of
close
jail.
to it.
She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal.
Not the transgender operations on illegals in prison. Not that. Oh God.
If probably 14 or 15 different.
I was so fucking baffled by that. Trans illegals. Why would he care? I thought he hated illegals. Oh well. Did you think they're producing them to send them out into society? They're designing them like fucking soldiers in a lab. What have other right-wingers said about it? Oh, Ben Shapiro did a whole commentary on it, didn't he? Ben reacts. 5 minutes. Not that bad. Not bad.
Folks, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris just went toe-to-toe on the biggest political stage in the world. Let me tell you, the real battle is actually just beginning. Daily Wire is right on the front line. So now would be an amazing time to join us in the fight. For a very limited time, get 47% off new annual memberships. Why 47? Well, that's because that's what the fight is about. The 47th presidency of the United States. Use code FIGHT at dailywire.com/subscribe. That's dailywire.com/subscribe. Code FIGHT. Get 47% off new Daily Wire Plus annual memberships. So here's my take on this particular debate. We're going to talk about it a lot today. We'll talk about it a lot tomorrow. And a week from now, it's not going to matter at all. And the reason it's not going to matter at all is because nothing fundamentally changed here. The people of America still don't know Kamala Harris. Donald Trump has not done his job in making sure that
the fucking cigar smoke is so...
The people of America actually know anything about her positions. 30% of Americans say they don't know anything about her positions, and they still don't know anything about her positions because the moderators never pressed her on any of her positions. And Donald Trump didn't either. On Donald Trump's side of the aisle, Donald Trump did not perform tonight. He didn't do an amazing job calling her on her BS. The best thing he said all night
was... What are Trump's policies? Tariffs. But I don't know how tariffs work. I don't know what a tariff is. Is that it? Tariffs, but they don't cause prices to go up or trade deficits. Neither of those things might happen with tariffs. We can't solve everything with tariffs. Yes, we can.
This is his closing statement, which is what he should have opened
Oh, no.
with. He closed with, why didn't you do it? That should have been the very first thing he said in the debate. And the fact that that wasn't what he said right off the top was a mistake. He was also incredibly distractible tonight. He took the bait on nearly every question. Every time she said something that you knew was going to get his goat, he just let it happen. So, for example, when she gave him the bait on his crowd sizes, on people are leaving your crowds, they're leaving your rallies, he couldn't resist going after her about the crowd size. Well,
that's your guy. That's your president, Ben Shapiro. That is your president of the United States of America, the biggest, baddest, meanest country on earth. That's your guy. The guy who can't resist bait on his crowd sizes. Ben!
January 6th. About the election of 2020. These are all distractions. The only thing that mattered tonight for Donald Trump was defining her, and he did not define her, which means that I still
he did define her, Ben. What are you talking about? He said she was a Marxist. He said that she wanted to perform trans surgeries on illegal migrants in prisons. He said that she was responsible for a Haitian dog and cat kidnapping, eating crime wave in Springfield. He did define her. What are you talking about?
The calendar, we still have a couple months till the election, she is going to have to be defined. The big takeaway from this is not going to be about Trump, who still remains Trump. And it's really not going to be about Harris, who performed the best I think it's possible for Kamala Harris to perform, which is to say she was fairly obnoxious. She lied a lot. She said a lot of things that were untrue. She was never called on any of that. The big takeaway is going to be the continued destruction of the legacy media on behalf of the Democratic Party. The legacy media have decided, full scale, they are now apparatchiks of the Democratic Party. They are so far up Kamala Harris's ass that they're doing active colonoscopy.
I want to know he's got 3 minutes, okay? I want to see all the lies that Kamala told. If it's the good people on both sides, I will actually kill myself. Like, there's no way he's going to use that one. Maybe she said something else that was not true. Maybe she, because I know that her policy positions have changed, right? And she downplays it because you can't look like you've changed your mind on anything in Western politics for some reason. Israelis seem to be okay with it. They're okay with people who go from a fucking hardline Likud settler expander to making peace and evacuating settlements. Like they like that. They love people like that. But they don't like it in America or in the UK for some reason.
With their eyeballs. It's unbelievable watching David Muir ask questions to Donald Trump like, why are you so bad and orange and mean? And then turning to Kamala Harris and saying, and why is he so bad and orange and mean? It's absolutely insipid and totally insane. The media tonight were beyond the worst expectations that I had for them. I thought that they were going to do like a baseline creditable job because CNN did. Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, they actually did that in the last debate. They actually asked questions and let people answer them. David Muir became an active participant in this debate. Lindsey Davis became an active participant in the debate. And then they never once fact-checked Kamala Harris, who lied over and over and over. She lied. She said, for example, that Donald Trump was a backer of Project 2025. A lie. She said that Donald Trump said there were very fine people on both sides of the Charlottesville.
The 2025 thing, it's just, I'm sorry, you can't really fact check or deny it because Trump is so fucking snaky about it. The way he keeps saying, I don't know anything about Project 2025. I don't know about it. I don't want to know about it. It seems to involve my vice president and a bunch of people that I'm very connected to, but I don't want to know about it. I've deliberately not read it. I make a very strong effort not to read it. When people tell me about it, I put my fingers in my ears and I go, la, 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 la. It's a bit suspicious. It's just a little bit, you can't fact check that, okay? Apart from you can say, there's no official endorsement from Trump. Okay. There's a very unofficial one though, isn't there? There's a very, there's a very big about it. He's not going to do the people on both sides. Ben.
She lied. She said, for example, that Donald Trump was a backer of Project 2025. A lie. She said that Donald Trump said there were very fine people on both sides of the Charlottesville riots, including the neo-Nazis. That is a lie. It's been debunked repeatedly. They did not say that that was a lie. She said that he had said that.
Okay, Trump, Charlottesville, fine people on both sides. Is this true or is this not? I can't believe they still think this is a good fact check. It's so retarded.
The alt-left and white supremacists on the same moral plane.
I'm not putting anybody on a moral plane. What I'm saying is this. You had a group on one side and you had a group on the other, and they came at each other with clubs, and it was vicious, and it was horrible, and it was a horrible thing to watch. But there is another side. There was a group on this side, you can call them the left, or you've just called them the left, that came violently attacking the other group. So you can say what you want, but that's the way it is.
On both sides, so you said there was hatred, there was violence on both sides.
Well, I do think there's blame. Yes, I think there's blame on both sides. You look at both sides. I think there's blame on both sides, and I have no doubt about it, and you don't have any doubt about it either. And if you reported it accurately, you would say.
They showed up in Charlottesville to protest.
Excuse me, they didn't put themselves down as you, and you had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name. No, George Washington was a slave owner. Was George Washington a slave owner? So will George Washington now lose his status? Are we going to take down, are we going to take down statues to George Washington? How about Thomas Jefferson? What do you think of Thomas Jefferson? You like him? Okay, good. Are we going to take down the statue? Because he was a major slave owner. Now we're going to take down his statue. So you know what? It's fine. You're changing history, you're changing culture, and you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists.
Really?
Okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfairly.
Yeah?
Now, in the other group also, you had some fine people, but you also had troublemakers, and you see them come with the black outfits and with the helmets and with the baseball bats. You had a lot of bad people in the other group too.
So you had people here who were not neo-Nazis and white supremacists. There were very fine people in this crowd, okay? This is what he's saying. In this crowd protesting the statue. This crowd. These people. Okay, I mean, yeah, like in New Zealand, they do the haka. That's fine. It's okay to go hoo every now and then when you're marching as a protest. That's fine. Tiki torches too. Okay, it's dark. It's dark. Okay. You will not replace us. Okay, that's. Oh wait, they changed that word, didn't they? They said Jews will not. Okay. Jews. Where are the fine people? Is that a fine person saying it? Is maybe there? Over there? How about there? Maybe they're out of shot. I don't know. Jews will not. He's not saying anything. Maybe he's sitting there thinking, "This is a bit uncomfortable. Should I be here right now? I just came here because I like history. I just came here because I want to remind the fine American people of Charlottesville that the Confederacy lost the war, but that some of the generals were, we just want to remember that you shouldn't do that. We put a statue up to him. Because God forbid we forget our history, okay? There's nothing more tragic than forgetting your history. Those who forget history are condemned to repeat it, okay? Just so you guys know. That's why we keep the Robert E. Lee statue up there. And that's why no one in Germany remembers who Hitler was, okay? Because they took down the statues. It was a bad move. Maybe this guy? I don't know. Ooh. Okay. Well, to be fair, they did have the Unite the Right rally, which was organized in part by Richard Spencer. They did have that the next day. Maybe these were the fine people on both sides. Maybe they're somewhere here. Where are we? Oh, there's a Nazi flag. Okay, no one seems to be objecting. Okay, that's fine. That's totally fucking normal. That's okay. Well, there's the Nazi flag again. Whoa. What does that say? End Jewish control over America now. Okay, maybe that's okay. This is maybe the finer people. That's like you wouldn't. Nothing wrong with it. Okay, I love my people. That's a black sun on a shield. Okay, no issue with that. Okay. I love my people. You can't ignore that he said not the neo-Nazis and white supremacists. Gilad, if that works on you, then you deserve to live in a fascist state, okay? You deserve to be a fucking political prisoner, okay? What the fuck is wrong with you? If you are looking at an entire rally of Nazi flags and Nazi slogans and anti-Semitic slogans and everyone chanting it, everyone's okay with it, and you say, well, he did say, these guys, there are good people in here, many good people, but not the Nazis. What the fuck are you talking about? It's like, okay, wait, hang on. There are many, many fine people on this side, okay? Many fine people. These guys oppose Jews, okay? So there's maybe some Jews they're talking about. And I'll tell you, look, I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis, okay? I'm not talking about the Nazis. I'm not talking about the Nazis and the anti-Semites. I'm talking about the fine people on both sides. I mean, I guess there's that guy. What the fuck are you talking about? Many good people here. Not the Nazis, though. Not the Nazis. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. This was in the riot period. Oh yeah, maybe. So maybe what happened is maybe these guys went to meet the counter-protesters, and then out of nowhere, an entire entourage of different people who just like the statues and don't care about far-right neo-Nazism. Maybe they just appeared out of fucking nowhere, and those are the fine people he's talking about. You're a fucking idiot. Shut up. Okay.
This is the first precept of the true alt-right. Remember it. Gas the kikes, race war down! Gas the Who brought the ovens?
Listen, there are many good people on this side. Not the Nazis, though, okay? But this side, we're going to both sides this and the anti-fascists. We're going to both sides it. Okay. How do people fall for this?
The press has treated white nationalists unfairly? I just understand what you're saying.
There were people in that rally, and I looked the night before. If you look, there were people protesting very quietly the taking down of the statue of Robert E. Lee. I'm sure in that group there were some bad ones. The following day, it looked like they had some rough, bad people, neo-Nazis.
He's talking about the Tiki Torch rally. What the fuck? That was the quiet one. Jews will not reply.
Nationalists, whatever you want to call them. But you had a lot of people in that group that were there to innocently protest, and very legally protest, because, I don't know if you know, they had a permit. The other group didn't have a permit. So I only tell you this. There are two sides to a story. I thought what took place was a horrible moment for our country. A horrible moment. But there are two sides to the country. Does anybody have a final? Does anybody have? You have an infrastructure.
What makes you think you can get an infrastructure bill? You didn't get health care.
Well, I'll tell you. We came very close with health care. Unfortunately, John McCain decided to vote against it at the last minute. You'll have to ask John McCain why he did that. But we came very close to health care. We will end up getting health care, but we'll get the infrastructure. And actually, infrastructure is something that I think will have bipartisan.
That's some fifth column. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, to be fair, I think basically the entire MAGA crowd is a fifth column. But, oh, well. And that's not even to mention the Russian operatives. Oh, no.
He was going to unleash a bloodbath on the country if he lost. That's a full-scale lie. They never fact-check a single thing that she did the entire night. And actually,
Ben Shapiro, the day after Charlottesville.
President Trump decides that he is going to finally change his statement that he made on Saturday. As you recall, the president of
that press conference we just saw where he condemns the neo-Nazis, it took him a few days to do that. That's another bit of context as well, because that was after pressure. That conference is from quite a bit after the rally, like after someone was killed. I forgot that. Thanks, Ben.
The United States made a statement on Saturday in which he said that there was violence and bigotry on all sides, and he didn't specifically single out the alt-right. He didn't single out the Nazis. He didn't single out any of that. And the result of that was that there was a lot of blowback. And I think right blowback. I think it was correct to have blowback. I think President Trump didn't do enough to disassociate himself from the alt-right, which he'd sort of been winking at. There was a report yesterday that Steve Bannon had been telling him over the weekend. Steve Bannon, who is his White House chief strategist, a guy I know well, former head of Breitbart, a man who said that he was happy that he had turned Breitbart into basically a forum for the alt-right. A guy who helped prop up figures like Milo, who were popularizing the alt-right. And so Trump didn't say anything. And apparently he was very angry that he had to go out and make a statement yesterday. So let's reenact yesterday with President Trump. So President Trump starts off the day by going after the head of Merck. So Merck is a major pharmaceutical company. The CEO, a guy named Kenneth Frazier, he's the CEO of Merck, and he was on President Trump's manufacturing board. After Trump didn't come out strongly enough, in his opinion, and condemn the alt-right and white nationalism and white supremacism, he quit the board. And Trump went out and tweeted. Remember, this is before he's made any overt statement with regard to the alt-right or the KKK or anything. He tweeted, Merck Pharma is a leader in higher and higher drug prices, while at the same time taking jobs out of the U.S., bring jobs back, and lower prices. So that's how he leads off yesterday. And people are like, really? This is where you're putting your focus? You're putting your focus on the Merck head? Everybody thinks that you need to come out and condemn the alt-right. Everybody thinks you need to come out and condemn white supremacism. If you want to condemn Antifa at the same time, that would be nice. If you want to do all those things, you can do those things. And instead, he's tweeting about Merck. So finally, yesterday afternoon, right about the time that we were finishing filming the show, Trump gave a statement, and here was Trump's statement about racism and finally condemning the alt-right or groups associated with the alt-right by name.
Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans. We are a nation founded on the truth that all of us are created equal. We are equal in the eyes of our Creator. We are equal under the law, and we are equal under our Constitution. Those who spread violence in the name of bigotry strike at the very core of America. 2 days ago, a young American woman, Heather Heyer, was tragically killed. Her death fills us with grief, and we send her family our thoughts, our prayers, and our love.
Okay, good. Good for Trump for saying this, right? This is what everybody wanted him to say. He should have said it 48 hours earlier. The long delay gave a lot of credence to a lot of the groups that were claiming that Trump was on their side. You remember I read yesterday the Nazi outlet, the Daily Stormer, coming out and praising Trump for not going too hard on the white nationalists. Yesterday, he blasts them. And then what's interesting is that, okay, what's the fallout? So that 48-hour gap creates a series of alt-right people who go out and say, well, Trump is really sort of defending us, isn't he? You know, his silence means something to us. A bunch of people on the left saying his silence means something, obviously, to the alt-right. And then Trump says this, and, you know, he condemns them. And the alt-right's response is, well, he didn't really mean it, right? Like, now he really didn't mean it because he's coming out, he's doing this after pressure. So according to Olivia Nuzzi, who is a reporter, I believe, for Politico, she says, Richard Spencer doesn't think President Trump condemned his movement today. He called it kumbaya nonsense and said Trump didn't mean it. Okay, so who cares about that, right? Maybe Richard Spencer is just wrong. Trump does mean it, and it's great that Trump did it, and good. Okay, but then 5 minutes after the speech, a few minutes after the speech, Trump goes right back on Twitter, and is he going after the Is he going after the alt-right on Twitter? Is he retweeting his own speech about racism? No, he's going back after the Merck guy. He decides that it is important, that he must go after the Merck guy again. So he tweets again about the Merck guy, going after him because he says...
Trump did say they just never told you. What are you talking about? I've watched this footage before, you fucking idiot. Here's the question you need to ask yourself. What if this was an Antifa killing? Would Trump have taken 48 hours? Would he have said there were many fine people on both sides? No. He tried for as long as he could to make it about his attacks on Antifa. When one person was killed by a neo-Nazi, when one crowd was holding up tiki torches saying Jews will not replace us and gas the K words, okay? Because he knows that those are his supporters. Those were people who voted for him. Those were people who Zeke Heiled and has said fucking Heil Trump the day that he won.
Hail Trump! Hail our people! Hail victory!
This is why Trump took so long to condemn them. And even when he condemned them, he still both sides it. This is why he was scared of rocking the boat with the alt-right. Because again, Trump didn't win by that much. He lost the popular vote. He needed every vote he could get against Hillary Clinton. So, okay.
He's a bad guy. Then he goes on Twitter after that, and he decides that it is necessary to tweet about the media. So here's what he tweeted. He tweeted, quote, made additional remarks on Charlottesville and realized once again that the fake news media will never be satisfied. Truly bad people. Okay, this is just not smart. It's not smart and it's not moral. Okay, the reason that you should make that additional statement on Charlottesville is because the first one was insufficient. It was morally insufficient. You have to condemn the bad guys. What Trump sounds like he's saying here, okay, if I were just to read this as a layman, what it sounds like he's saying is that the reason that he made the remarks in the first place is because the fake news media were pushing him to do so, and then they wouldn't accept him saying what he was saying. In other words, he was fine with not saying anything additional.
Yeah.
This, of course, lends a lot of credence to the stuff that Spencer was saying. That really the only reason that Trump was doing this is because he was pressured, but deep down in the cockles of his heart, he really didn't want to condemn the alt-right. He really didn't want to condemn the white supremacists. Now, Mr. Trump, President Trump, I don't think that you're a racist. I don't think you're a white supremacist. I don't think you're an alt-righter. Please stop making moves that are even open to question. Okay, this is so obvious and this is so easy. And when you blame the fake news media for being mean to you because you made a bad statement on Saturday, by the way, the reports are that there was a second statement that he had in front of him on Saturday that was exactly the same as the statement he made yesterday, and he went off cuff because he didn't actually want to discuss the white supremacy on Saturday. Right? There was that report that came out yesterday. Okay, it's not good stuff. The president of the United States agenda is determined by the president actually being strong enough of will, being strong enough morally to stand up against bad people. And the idea that
God, I wonder why the fact checkers didn't point this out, because he saw a tiki torch rally of people calling to kill Jews versus an anti-fascist rally where some people were probably cringe communists. And he said there were fine people on both sides. Yeah, that's it. And the fact checkers were like, well, technically, actually, Trump said, I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis, even though I'm talking about one side that was exclusively made up of white supremacists and neo-Nazis. And also, I corrected myself 48 hours and then got pissy about it and blamed the fake news for pressuring me into doing it. Maybe the fact checker should have done that. Yeah, well done, Ben, you fucking cunt.
That helps Trump.
All right, wow.
And it helps Trump for a very simple reason. If you are a Trump fan, and if you think that Trump didn't actually perform unbelievably well tonight, which I think is true, I don't think he did an amazing job tonight. The easy out is, because the media were targeting him. And if you're a moderate watching this, I think that it had to be apparent, even to moderates, even to independents, the media want Kamala Harris elected. They are doing their best to make sure that Kamala Harris is elected. So tomorrow, we'll revert right back to where we were before this debate. We'll revert right back to Kamala Harris is vibes, and she is joy, and she is policy vagary, and she'll never answer another question. She's going to try and get all the way from here to the election without ever
My favorite line from the debate. What's this one?
Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Otherwise,
she mugged him so hard. She knows all his insecurities. That's what she got from being a prosecutor, right? That skill that she picked up.
Answering another question. There will be no more debates. She's going to declare that she won. The media will declare that she won and that Trump lost. Trump really has no interest in doing another debate because
the polls will say it as well, Ben. Don't forget the polls, okay? The media will say the polls said. Don't forget that, Ben. Wouldn't want to make it look like you're being dishonest in favor of one guy.
I don't think that it's in his interest to do another debate at this point. So that was the last presidential debate of this election cycle. The bottom line is that when all is said and done, it seems like a lot of this is baked into the cake. And in the moment, it's uncomfortable because it was such an opportunity. You know, if you're like me and you're sitting there, you're like leaping out of your seat. Why won't he just say it? Why won't he just say it? It's very frustrating. She will say something about how race shouldn't divide us. And you're sitting there going, what the actual living, like you are a case in point of a person who divides based on race. It's what you do for a living. It's how you became vice president of the United States. She will say things about Afghanistan. They'll ask her about whether she has any regrets. And she'll say no. And instead of him coming back and saying, don't you regret the 13 dead American soldiers whose families you ignored? You're just waiting for him to take the opening. But the problem was that
it's so disgusting to pretend there was any clean way to pull out of Afghanistan. Like, what do you think a pullout works of a country that you're governing and helping a local, clearly house of cards to try and stay in against the Taliban? Like, especially after you have just completely strengthened the bargaining position of the Taliban thanks to Trump. After you've excluded the Afghan government from the talks, after you didn't give them what they needed, after you invited the Taliban to Camp David, after you released 5,000 Taliban prisoners without giving them a say, the Afghan government? Ugh.
He'd been set off earlier in the debate. He was incredibly distractible. He was following every squirrel down every particular rabbit hole. Again, the best moment I thought of the debate for Donald Trump was that closing statement where he finally laid out the big question. If you say you have all these big plans, why don't you do any of those things? But in the final analysis, I can be pissed at the media. I can feel discomfort with how the debate went tonight. This is still a tight race. It's not going to become a not tight race because of this particular debate, which means that tomorrow Donald Trump better get up and he better decide that he's going to do for the rest of the campaign the thing he didn't do tonight, define her positions. It can't just let J.D. Vance, by the way, is doing an excellent job of this. J.D.'s doing a great job of this. Trump needs to do it. He needs to actually do it. If he does that, he can still win the race and he still has the upper hand. But this debate was I'll say it was a blown opportunity at the very least.
All right. Well, that's a lot of heckin' copium from Mr. Shapiroid there. I love it how the fact checks on Kamala's side are like, really, you said that Trump said there were fine people on both sides in Charlottesville when he did say that, okay. But what he actually meant was both sides, but not the neo-Nazis, even though one side was entirely made up of neo-Nazis and chanting neo-Nazi slogans for 2 days. And also that he, after pressure from the press, and he admitted it was under pressure from the press, decided to say that racism is bad. And it didn't convince anyone, including me. And what other fact check was there? Oh yeah, Trump didn't actually endorse Project 2025. In fact, he actually makes an incredible effort to distance himself from it, even though his people who are very close to him support it. His vice president seems to support it. And the fact that you are very suspiciously burying your head in the sand about it and making it very clear to everyone that you're burying your head in the sand about it. That should the fact, and then that's one side, okay? And the other side of the fact checking is, no, Trump, there's not a migrant crime wave of people kidnapping pets and eating them in Springfield. How are these two comparable? What the fuck? What the fuck? Or it's legal to give birth and then murder the baby. Like, no, what the fuck? He's mental. They're all mental. What a stupid country.